I've joined the Rawvolution at NatuRaw because I know that not all raw food is created equal. I'm passionate about feeding dogs as nature intended. After all, you are what you eat, and so is your dog. At NatuRaw, there are no compromises, no confusion, just real raw food made with integrity and a conscience, offering 100% transparency, supporting British farmers, and only using the highest welfare assured ingredients is so important. They're a certified B Corp and reduce their carbon footprint by utilizing solar power and planting trees. They only use completely plastic-free packaging that's home compostable. Prudence and Mr. Binks are simply loving their nutrient-dense and balanced recipes. So try NatuRaw today. Just go to naturaw.co.uk and grab 20% off your first purchase with my code AnnaWebb20. Join the Rawvolution and feed exceptional raw food. This week's show, like all others, is powered by Antinol. Hello, I'm Anna Webb, and welcome to this week's episode. I'm talking to Elise Finney, who is Canine Sports Community Coordinator for Antinol. Elise Finney, welcome to A Dog's Life.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, explain your role at Antinol and, why you're so lucky and that you get to meet some of the UK's biggest canine athletes.
Yeah, so my role at Antinol is Canine Sports Community Coordinator, and I'm blown away really by the connections that we have and we can build on in canine sports. And so essentially it is my dream job. And it encompasses one of my hugest passions, which is dog sports and dog well-being. And what I do day to day is I grow and I connect with the canine sports community in the UK. And I get to work with these incredible partnerships of dogs and people alike and be able to link with them and Antinol become even more involved in the dog sports community.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, agility has just grown and grown and grown, hasn't it,
Oh,
Elise?
absolutely. I mean, I started agility 11 years ago, and the change and how big it is now in comparison is incredible. I mean, the differences now in terms of the focus on dogs' health and well-being and their safety, it is absolutely incredible to see how much it's evolved in that time. And as a sport, I mean, there's so much more opportunity now, there's more shows that it's got so much more of a platform. So it's incredible to see.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I mean, it's a great thing for humans to do for, human well-being and human fitness as well, isn't it, Elise, to be honest?
Absolutely, yeah. So, it keeps me active, it gets me out. I mean, throughout the summer, I'm competing with my dogs in the great outdoors. So it's amazing at keeping us fit, not only the dogs as well.
Yeah, and it's also, you've got to keep training it.
Yeah,
It's not one of those things that you might do, once a month and then hope to be in the main arena at Crufts,
yeah,
because that's never going to happen. And
yeah,
and that's also brilliant because it means that you're constantly working your dogs, and dogs love that. That can, change dogs behaviorally, builds their confidence, it gives them exercise, and it also gives them a purpose, and dogs love doing the right thing for their owners.
yeah, absolutely. And what I find amazing about agility is how much, I'm still learning even 11 years in. And my dogs, there's always something new we can train together, we can try. And they love being able to do new courses and new skills, and it keeps them active and fit for much longer as well.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's mental dexterity, isn't it,
Mm.
as well as the physical dexterity. So, and you can anyone in a way can do a bit of agility. It does, I think as well, it's as much as kind of breaking it down to how agility can be done in your park. I mean, I do agility with Prudence every day. She jumps over logs, she weaves through some bollards. We love our canine freestyle. So she'll do a few jumps over the leg and spins and twists and through the
Yeah.
legs and all of these things. And it's a way of just building teamwork rather than just walking along, with your headphones on and you're not really paying any attention to your dog. I do see that out there a lot.
Mm.
And I think, building a relationship with your dog is so important. There's only one journey with one dog, and they define chapters. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Oh, absolutely. And I do think each dog teaches you a new thing as well. So, going through the sports, you learn so much about each other. And I find the bond and the trust I have with my dogs now as a result of going through this agility experience. We've become a team. We're a partnership, and they help me and I help them, and it's really brought us closer together. And I think, like you say, you can do it in the park. I remember when I first started, I didn't have any equipment, and I would ask my dog to wrap around a tree like it was a jump wing, and we'd practice together, and we'd play games together, and there was so much we could do away from the equipment to build our bond as well.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, and it's easy to do. That's the thing, and it just tunes you in more. I think with your dog, it's something I do recommend to all my sort of training clients
Yeah.
to do. It's so important, and it's the confidence as well, because a lot of dogs lack confidence. Some dogs have got too much confidence, and it's a way of kind of balancing dogs to kind of reach their perfect point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of my pet dogs, for example, who I do agility with, they started out, and one in particular, he was terrified of the tunnel and the seesaw, and now he's racing through them because we've built a lot of his confidence up, and that comes into all areas as well of his life. So I think it definitely has a great effect on them from that perspective.
Like it does with people.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you push boundaries to go and do something you might be a bit afraid of or whatever, and then when you do it, you really feel you've got to give yourself a pat on the back. Like, for example, I drove to Germany and back in my Mini on my own. I know. And I wasn't looking forward to it at all. But once you've done something like that, you think, right, next stop, Australia. It's
Absolutely.
So yeah, so look, this year at Crufts is quite landmark for Antinol. Please explain why.
It is. So yeah, this year is going to be incredible for us. Last year our CEO and commercial director came over, and they came to Crufts, and they were blown away, and it was a huge goal for us to get to Crufts. And this year we are an actual official sponsor of Crufts, and we're also headline sponsor for the Agility and Flyball, which is going to be incredible. And yeah, I cannot wait to see Antinol out there. We're so excited to meet more people, more dogs, and I'm also going as well as from a personal perspective too. So I'm actually competing with three of my dogs at Crufts this year, which is going to be exciting. No pressure,
Oh,
but
no pressure.
yeah, no pressure. But it's going to be really cool to be jumping Antonol jumps, and obviously it being a huge part of my life already. So I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Gosh, I know, no pressure.
Yeah.
None at all. I only work for the sponsor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see us on that stage, both personally and professionally.
Oh gosh, yeah, 100%. But it is true, not all dogs need to be athletes to take Antinol. Many of the dogs in the showing, classes, because that also involves a lot of precision. It's a lot harder than people think, I think, when you're
Yeah.
watching crufts on TV and you see the dogs, running in the show ring, and everyone thinks, oh, my dog could do that, but actually it's a lot harder. And for that movement as well, it's something that needs a lot of wellness, good diet, good training, good relationship, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, like I say, that's where Antinol, we're not here just for canine sports, but for every single dog. It's not just agility. Like you say, it's the showing dogs. It's the everyday dog. We're there for all types and breeds. And I think what makes us so great is we are suitable for every age and life stage. And from puppies from 12 weeks old to your elder senior dogs, it supports them all the way through their journey, whether that's they go on a sports journey and they need that extra support for the strain that it puts on their bodies, or if they're just living an everyday pet life. It's that I think that's what makes Antinol so unique, is that we're there for everyone, not just one.
Oh, it is true. It is. So why do you think canine professionals choose Antinol, Elise?
So what makes us different is that instead of being an omega-3 that only includes DHA and EPA, we actually include the whole lipid profile, which has over 90 essential fatty acids. And for canine sports, it's so important for, as a professional myself, it's so important to give our dogs as much support as we can, basically, because we're asking so much of them. It is such an intense sport in agility, and obviously other dog sports as well. There's a lot of movement, and we want to maintain that, and we want to provide something that is going to give our dogs so much support in terms of long term, especially because we want to continue enjoying this sport with our dogs for as long as we possibly can. And I think it's really important that these canine athletes are having that extra bit of maintenance with them, alongside obviously a well-balanced diet and all the fitness that goes into them. And I think a lot goes into these dogs, from a training perspective, from an everyday life perspective. It's really important as a canine professional that we're choosing something that is going to give our dogs exactly what they need.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you ever met Lemon? Because Lemon is contesting, isn't she, this year to maintain her great win from last year. And from what I've read in the press, Lemon is quite old for an agility dog. I mean, she's not old, she's 8, I think, but that's still, that's not young in the agility circuit.
No, absolutely. And yes, I have met Lemon. She's a very well-known dog in the agility circuit. And I think for that reason, especially, she's coming towards the later years of her career, and she's had an incredible journey through agility. And I think what makes it especially incredible is that she's still very much at the top of the sport, despite, all these young dogs coming through who are, going to be a lot more youthful, but she's still beating them to the top, and it's incredible to see how much she's really performing at that top level still, as you say, as she gets older. And I think that's where that real focus on maintaining healthy joints and maintaining that support there is super important for dogs as they get older.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, with older dogs, with their cognition, that's also important as we all age. Our memory starts to fade. Talking about myself here, that's another reason, omega-3, helps your well-being.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's so much that we don't always realize when we first speak about omega-3s. It's actually, very well proven to be great for kidney health, cognitive health, skin. Skin's a huge part of it as well, and helping to maintain that healthy skin barrier and keep it hydrated. There's so many aspects to these omega-3s and Antinol itself in how it can help support our dogs long term.
Oh yeah, no, amazing, amazing. I mean, I only wish I'd discovered Antinol a lot earlier, Elise, because I do love the fact that it's in capsules rather than powders. And I think that does make a bit of a difference in terms of its effectivity. it goes in the body more effectively.
Yeah.
So it's like a smaller amount.
And I think the other side of it as well, what people don't realize is actually the green mussel powder is a byproduct of the green mussel oil process. And
Mm.
being a green mussel oil, it actually makes it safe for long-term use.
Yeah, that's so interesting, actually, Elise. I do agree on that. No, I mean, we're loving it. I mean, my dog's coats are so shiny at the moment. They're smooth coated and dark, so they look great. Their coats are like a mirror.
That's so great to hear. I'm the same in my household. I'm actually getting very jealous of my dog's hair. They look beautiful.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, that's something to think about. I mean, we need omega-3 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is something that the government recommends. They recommend at least 3 portions of oily fish per week for that reason. So if it's recommended for us humans, I can see why it's so important for our dogs as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. So Antinol's really committed to supporting all the canine sports in the UK. Is that right?
It is, yes. And that's a huge part of what we do. We're already at the heart of canine sports, but we want to keep branching out and keep giving back to this community because it is incredible. And seeing the work that they do is amazing. And we want to get involved in any way we possibly can. So actually, we've got a lot of very exciting things that are launching this year. So we've just launched our Antinol Athletes, where we've selected 20 human and canine partnerships across various sports to help support those dogs at the top of their game, and also dogs that are coming through into the sports more. As well as that, we are aiming to support and sponsor over 250 canine shows and events this year, canine sports shows. So if anyone is interested in that, please do get in touch with us. But we want to give back to a community that have given us so much as well. So, that's also including our dog training clubs. They're really at the heart of canine sports, and I think it's important that we highlight how much they do for them as a community. So we are very keen to give back in any way we possibly can, and become really supportive of the heart of dog sports.
That's really amazing. That is so great. I'm really interested to hear about your top 20 that you've selected. Are they going to be competing at Crufts?
Yeah, so we've got a variety actually. So that's from agility dogs, heel to music, obedience. So it's going to be really exciting to see them all on that main stage this year as well, especially.
So are they actually branded as an Antinol team, or are they individuals as part of a team? I mean, with heel work to music, canine freestyle and obedience, you work on a one-on-one basis, I think,
Yeah.
or are they part of a bigger team in every context?
So they're all an individual in terms of themselves and those sports, but we're bringing them together as an Antinol athletes team. So they're going to be out at dog sports events. They're going to be champions for us within their atmospheres, and hopefully help spread the word of how amazing Antinol is.
So there'll be a canine freestyle Antinol competitor. There'll be, the obedience, obviously, which I love. I mean, that, I call it nitty gritty obedience, but it's absolutely wonderful. And when that dog has to be left alone in a big arena as the owner walks away, that really shows such trust between the owner and the dog that the dog isn't going to follow her out or get up to mischief thinking, great, she's out of sight. I'm just going to run around now and go mad, which a bull terrier probably would do, which is why, in fairness, you never see a bull terrier ever doing any of these things at Crufts. Hear that, Prudence? Yes. So there is that as well, isn't there? I mean, for people like me with bull breeds that, don't get a look in, only because they don't have that bidability. They were born with a mindset to be, as disobedient as they possibly can at all times, and that's their charm. That is
Yeah.
their charm. So I mean, I'm proud actually to say I have, run an agility circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have actually, a lot, because that particular bull terrier needed working really to be happy and to keep a lot of endorphins running in his head and all the rest, and he was a very very, very energetic dog as well, because well, they're terriers, bull breeds. They're not all lazy, they're not couch potatoes. A lot of them need to really burn off a lot of energy every day. So it was perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah, so we used to go down to Company of Animals, actually, where Dr. Roger Mugford has his Surrey base, and use their circuit. One
Oh,
day, yeah, one day he found a boomer ball actually in the kind of shed bit. He ran out on the circuit with a boomer ball and managed to flatten all of the jumps, flatten the weave poles. And it was funny when we were competing. Well, we never really competed. We did a few things. We did a thing for television once, on the basis, you can train a bull terrier, but he'd be so excited, knowing, which thing to do first, and everything. And I'd have to shout, frame. So he'd come running to do the A frame. But that's all part of it as well, isn't it? It's as much
yeah.
the handler, and you're working at speed, and you're really working at speed at Crufts, aren't you? Because it is all about the speed. The bottom line is the fastest dog with the least amount of faults wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's such, like you say, it's so underrated in the sense that people don't always think about the accuracy side of it as well. Like, like you just mentioned, they need to get round with the least amount of faults. So when you're going at such speed, it does become a lot harder. And it's so interesting, when you walk onto that carpet and you're walking the course. I mean, this will be my 8th year consecutively competing at Crufts, so it doesn't feel quite as nerve-wracking as it used to, but I still remember, that first time I walked onto that green carpet at Crufts and I had to walk and memorize my course. And, you're thinking, oh my goodness, my dog's going to become, super quick out of that tunnel. And I've got to make sure that they wrap this jump really quickly. And, it's all that precision side to it as well that comes into play, which is when you're dealing with seconds, it's very invigorating.
Yeah, or or nanoseconds, really.
Yeah.
It's like the hair's breadth sometimes
Yeah.
between dogs. So, I mean, would you say that border collies are kind of really, if you want to win, if you want to take home that Crufts Agility Championship trophy, do you
Mm.
think it has to be a border collie?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think a lot of people have that myth when it comes to dog sports, and they think, oh, it's only for border collies, but actually, it's for every breed. And in terms of getting to the top, yes, there's quite a lot of border collies up there, and I think a lot of that is to do with their light structures and obviously their intelligence and work ethic. But agility is for everyone, and I've seen a variety of breeds. I've taught a variety of breeds, from Dalmatians to Beagles to a little Shih Tzu. It's so fascinating how it is for everyone in the same sense. And for me, actually, it's really interesting. Out of all my dogs, my quickest is my teeny little working cocker cross poodle. She can race around a course far quicker than I ever could. And but yeah, I think it's a sport that welcomes every breed, without a doubt. Obviously, within reason, to make sure it's suitable for them. But I think at the top, you'd be surprised. I think there can be some dogs up there, and you'll see with our Antinol athletes, we've got some incredible anything but border collie breeds, which is known as ABCs in dog sports, that are at the top of their game. One that springs to mind already is a German Shepherd who's in the championship classes in agility. They're competing at the highest level, and that's against all the border collies.
No, that's good. That's good. That still is quite a biddable breed, though, a German
Yeah,
Shepherd. But
yeah.
but no, I love it. I love it. I miss it really. It's so much good fun. But I think as well, the accuracy
Mm,
obviously has to count, because that's also the skill, and that I think is where again Antinol, is great to help support dogs, because
mm.
on the A frame, if you don't, many dogs, will just fly off the top of it.
Yeah,
Well, I've known that, bull terriers, rather than thinking, right, yeah, I've got to go down it in an
yeah,
orderly fashion, hit the contact points, and then spring off. So if they spring off sort of halfway down, that's a fault.
Yes, yeah. So it is, like you say, it's a lot about the accuracy side of it. And, with those contact points, it's very important that the dogs, there's so much we look at it from a professional's perspective. We're looking at how our dogs are striding. Do they understand the contact? Do they know where their paws have to hit the contact before they can leave it? So it's very, very intricate when you look into it. And there's so much that you don't even realize when you first start it. Especially I didn't.
Well, what was funny, so I agree. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was taught to teach them to get off the obstacles before you go up them.
Yes, yes. So you almost work backwards in a way. You teach
Yeah.
them the end of the contact and you work your way backwards. Yeah. So I love back chaining. It's one of my favorite things because I think the dogs have got such a good understanding of the end of the process. You're just adding on a little bit more every time.
Yeah, and of course that ensures you've got more chance of hitting those contact
Yes.
points correctly when you're under pressure, when you're under speed. Yeah, so it must be interesting going back to that bit where you're walking the course, to figure out how you're going to do it with your individual dog to do it as fast as you can without any faults, because there will be tight turns. They make it difficult, obviously, where you've got to have that connection with your dog, because if the dog decided you're aiming to go to the jumps for another go round quickly, but the tunnel might still be there, so your dog might suddenly get confused and thinking, right, well, I must have to do the tunnel, but then if
Yeah.
he does the tunnel instead of going to the jump, then that's going to be a fault as well.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely a key factor when you are getting to the course and you're walking the course. When I look at it, I look at all of the obstacles from my dog's perspective. So I'm
Mm.
always thinking, what are they going to see next? Where do I need to give them that extra little bit of information? And like you say, it can go wrong in a split second. They can run off to the wrong obstacle. And in my mind, it's always my fault, not their fault. It's me not giving them the information that they needed sooner or correctly. But it's very
Mm.
interesting. Each dog is so different. So I could walk it for one of my dogs, and then I could walk it a completely different way for my other dogs. And it's just about getting in that mindset of what they're going to see and what they're going to be drawn towards the most. Is it the tunnel or is it the seesaw? What are they going to look at and think, yeah, I want to be in there. So a lot of the time, it's channeling that enthusiasm to the things you want them to do first.
Yes, yeah. And then you've also, though, at Crufts, of course, you've got the crowd. You've
Yes.
got, the sights, sounds, and the smells of everyone in the crowd. For a dog, that's overwhelming on an average day, let alone, when there's the pressure, and you're trying to keep your cortisol levels down, and dog can smell it already. He knows this is a competition. So he's excited. His
Mm.
adrenaline's going, I do get it. It's about really holding your nerve.
Yeah, it's really an atmosphere like no other, like you've described. I think the main thing when you get in there is it almost for me it goes quiet. It's like the volume turns off and I just focus with my dog. We're just us two are in that room at that point and that's all I can focus on. But I know when you get there, you're queuing and you're waiting and you're next to go in and you're just looking and there's this huge crowd around the ring and they're all watching and they're filming and it's so it's daunting when you first do it. It can be very like scary for a first experience. And for me, my main goal whenever it's my dog's first time competing at Crufts is to give them the best experience, to make sure they feel, super supported and they feel super confident that, they're having the best time ever. Because that's ultimately what's most important for all of us and for me especially. But yeah, as we've got more experienced, it's almost like the crowd goes quiet and you just kind of switch off and you just focused on that course and what you've got to do in front of you.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so exciting. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. But it is that waiting bit,
Mm.
actually, which can make or break it, really. You've got to get
Yeah.
the right energy for your dog. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it's different, from showing at Crufts, it's sort of similar. Sometimes you've got to wait your turn. You've got to keep an eye, when are they drawing to a close? Get Prudence, interested and up. You don't want to get that
Yeah.
up too soon. You don't want to get it up too late, sort of
Yeah.
thing, particularly with Prudence. But it's a whole atmosphere atmosphere. And I think a dog that can cope with the atmosphere at Crufts is a really well socialized, adjusted dog, to be honest, because it's it's huge for people.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's such a different place. I mean, you can never really replicate it, I would say, outside of Crufts. I think the most, like, the closest you could get to is, for example, like a market, or something where it's busy and it's bustling. But when you're in there, my dogs love agility; they live for it. So when they see the equipment, they become super enthusiastic. So then I've got to try and manage that before getting in the ring, amongst all of that extra excitement. You've got treat stands nearby, you've got so much going on. It really is incredible. And like you say, it can be quite daunting for us as well, going in and thinking, oh my god, all these people are watching me. But it is the most incredible 30 seconds that you will ever experience in your life. If it's agility, it's a feeling like no other, and you just want to relive it over and over again.
Oh gosh, you're really making me want to go do agility again, actually. So maybe with my next dog. Yeah. No, I absolutely, I think it's a wonderful thing to do, really. So, well, Elise, I'm really looking forward to seeing you up at Crufts,
Thank
and
you.
and I'm sure you'll be keeping up all the practice running in now, so it's not long at all.
Yeah, it's so close now, and it's always exciting these next few weeks. We're getting ourselves ready and prepared, making sure we've got everything packed, and we've done all the training and preparation we can do, and now it's time to wrap them up in bubble wrap, ready for the competition. So yeah, it's very exciting times.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for this, and can't wait to see you at Crufts, Elise.
Thank you, and I can't wait to see you at Crufts as well.
Oh, thank you. That's our show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcasts. Thanks again, of course, to Elise Finney for joining us today. And if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about Antinol, why not go to their website? And at checkout, you can use my code and redeem your special discount. It's just simply Webb. And this episode has been proudly fueled by Naturaw. Why not check out their website? And you can use my special code AnnaWebb20 to get 20% off your first order. Thanks again, of course, to Mike, my producer, for all the music and production as ever. And yes, if you haven't already, go on, subscribe. It's so easy and it's free. Bye for now.